Welcome to the Loud Quiet. Ooh, empty nester. Okay. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think that actually probably is the theme of the empty nest. Mm-hmm. What are we doing? Let's do this. Let's do this thing. I don't know if I'm recording. Yeah. Okay.
Great. Sans children. Just us. We need a tissue box up here. Follow along on our journey, and maybe, we can learn from others.
Yeah. I don't have a clue how to be empty nester.
This is the Loud Quiet, living the empty nest.
So what would you like to do on this fine podcast that we are going to embark upon? You're just going to sit there silently.
Are you asking me that question?
Oh, goodness. So we're actually finally here after weeks of getting set up.
Yeah, but what are we doing?
I think that actually probably is the theme of the empty nest. Mm-hmm. What are we doing?
Exactly.
I don't have a clue what we're doing.
Yeah. No.
Why are we doing this?
Well, I think we realized that we needed something to do together. We like to do stuff together, but this will be a set something that we have come together before the kids leave to kind of get ready for, and will continue, hopefully, after the kids leave next week.
Yeah, that's right. One and done. This was great. We spent 3 weeks setting up, and we're just going to finish it off. Yeah.
Tons of money and decoration and sweat equity.
Photo shoots. Kids getting a little crazy in front of cameras. Cats wandering through. No, I know I'm doing it because exactly that. I wanted to have something fun to do with you after the kids left. So much of what we do is, it hasn't been as kid-driven. It's still kind of kid-driven, though. The rhythms are.
So many of our activities, even our friends and our friend group, were because of what our kids were involved in.
Right.
And now we're not going to have Friday night football games.
Right.
We're not going to have weeknight soccer games. Now, some of that had already gone away, but every Friday night... Mm-hmm. meeting for drinks beforehand with couples, that's gone. So not that we're not going to see those people anymore, but we don't have that scheduled activity on our calendar every single week.
You have to be done by 7:30. Let's get our reservation in. I mean, heck, now one bonus though is we did find out a lot of happy hours because of that game time.
Is true. Yes. But I'd like to venture out of places that we have to be at.
You don't want to always go to the Star?
No, I don't.
We have this little radius that is just.
And what's
right
ironic is that we went back there last week.
Well,
or 2 weeks
right,
ago.
but what did I say? That I can't wait to go to the Star on a Friday night at 7:15 when everybody's just disappeared from there.
I think we think that way, but I think we only think that way because we had kids involved. There's a million other people that live in Frisco that don't think, let's not go to the Friday night at the Star because
I thought everything in Frisco was kid activity.
No. We have things that we enjoy being together. We enjoy activities. We enjoy hiking. We enjoy being outside.
Yeah.
We're just going to have to be more, because now we're going to have every night free.
Yeah.
Every weekend free, minus when we're traveling to see the kids.
And I know, something that I was thinking about as we were kind of approaching this moment is, even if it's not activity-based, they're just here.
Yeah.
Right? The kids they're ones that we talk to. I mean, or even just the knowledge that one is upstairs in her room, that she's there now. And I mean, the cat's been wandering in and out of here. Who knows what that thing's going to
No, I was sitting on the step with the cat one morning this week, and I was like, this is what it's going to be. Because you leave for work. I'm here before I leave for work.
Yeah.
I'm with the cat. When I come home from work, I'll be with the cat. And lots of times the cat doesn't want to be with me.
Yeah.
So
shocker that the cat didn't. And so that's why let's do this. Let's do this thing. And the other reason why I know I wanted to do this is I don't have a clue how to be empty nester. There were so many books of raising a kid, all the stacks of books that we had about raising a kid and all the stacks of books and counseling that you go to about getting married and all that. There isn't a whole lot out there about being an empty nester.
No.
And so I figured we just learn together.
Exactly. And when you tell someone, oh, our youngest is, we're taking our youngest to college. Ooh, empty nester. Okay. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And why? And I don't like the negative. Empty to me is a negative word. It's not always a negative word, but it is. There is sadness. I'm definitely sad.
Let's talk about that for a
that
bit
we're about to take our youngest.
You gonna make it? Are you gonna make
week?
it through this? Is episode 0. Are you actually going to make it through this?
I told her this morning. I said, "This is your last Friday in this house," and she's not even here. She's out with her friends, which great.
She's training us. She's helping us understand, which is exactly what we want.
Okay. Yay, empty nest. But yeah, there's not a lot of, like you said, the one book I ordered was 70 pages. The parenting book, part 1, was 500.
I think we lost
and,
several ripped muscles carrying those books around.
So I think it's just different for everyone. Parenting is different for everyone, but you're a parent. When they leave, it totally depends on what relationship you have with your spouse.
Yeah.
That you're now, it's y'all walking around the house, talking to a cat like a bunch of morons.
Yeah.
Right?
Although we've had practice doing that beforehand. It is. So, and that's what we're going to figure this out. And part of this is to help us explore that and go through that. I know that right now, what I'm feeling kind of in the pre-empty nest, I can't remember if I told you this already, but I was walking through the parking garage at work, and it was early before most of the people had gotten to the office complex where my office is, and I was walking through there, and I saw my truck, and I started to get weepy. Of all things, walking through the parking lot, getting weepy, looking at my truck because of all the memories that we've had with the kids in that truck. I can visualize Tanner being in his little booster seat going to see Veggie Tales. I remember going off-road with Tegan and her just loving it and the other friends in the car freaking out about it. And it just, these memories are flooding back. And it's just been a weird period these last, I'd say for me, like the last 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, after Tanner and I got back from North Carolina, that's when it was, there's nothing left. It's just that period of time.
Well, yeah. And I will say, that truck has been here since before we had the kids. So
Exactly.
There's a lot of pre-kid memories in that truck as well.
That's right. So to our listener, know that this truck I bought in December of 2000, we got married in May of 2000.
I'm ready to let that truck go. I have no sentimental value towards that truck.
Well, I do.
But
that's not about the truck. It's about the memories that the kids had in there.
And the last, I'd say yes, 2 weeks were super busy. I'm trying to get them started packing. We've got 2 staging areas going because we have 2 kids that are headed back, and one that's, headed to a new place. And so these last couple of days, I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to pick it back up again because we had a lull where there was nothing more I could do until come next week when they both are leaving and we will be, going with them. But, this podcast actually gave me something to do this summer on top of everything else that I've been doing to try to get Tegan ready to go first year, Tanner ready to go back. So it helped me, I painted it, we painted the room, we, went shopping and we're doing stuff together to get it ready. So that was a little practice run for us too. But again, we have also, I will say, we have been really good, probably more so than some couples at, when our kids were born and we were blessed to have parents that were able,
Yeah.
willing, wanted to keep their grandchildren. So we have been very good about carving out time
Yeah.
for us, trips, date nights. Now, of course, there were lulls when it didn't happen, but we, you know, and I think that was important. And I would pass that on, and I have passed that on to all my younger mom friends, is you have to keep the relationship
Sure.
with your spouse or you won't know what you're doing.
And so take that, like all those date nights and all that. Those were carve outs. That's what's going to be so different
it
now.
now?
It's no longer a carve out. It just
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And it's not a date night. It's just Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
and the
it's gonna be-
freedom that comes with it being Tuesday, that's great, right?
Yeah.
You know, let's go. There's no other activity, but it's just okay. But now it's Wednesday. Now it's just this
Yeah.
this volume of things. You said, well, no, well, you were about to say something.
No, I was just gonna say you just have to give me a heads up because with my job and I don't look like this on the daily, and so
Okay, so those of y'all that are watching this, she does. She's beautiful, and we know that. But yes, I know that I can't just come home and be like, yeah, hey, let's go out in your athletic gear and all that. We'll just find athletic places to be. You were talking about being busy, and that's something that had come to mind for me earlier. And I actually had this thought of, this is a big moment, and it's a moment filled with elation. We will talk about the elation and that sort of thing, but it's a moment filled with this sense of upcoming loss, a loss of what it was, a loss of them being in the house, the relationships that we have with them. Well, a lot of times when faced with a big moment, people medicate, and I found myself thinking, well, it's not like I'm really medicating by boozing it up. It's not a pill thing or anything like that. I think I've medicated this last few weeks by being busy. I've really, and I didn't even realize it until the moment that I realized it, but exactly this, spending an entire weekend and weekends shopping and putting this together.
playing Zelda.
I was about to say playing Zelda. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking playing Zelda, like doing that. Now, part of that's because she's taken the blooming Switch away, and so I got to get the gaming in before she leaves. But medicating by being busy, and so what does that look like when they're gone? Because you can't keep doing that. I can't keep working on so many things at once. That's not life.
But now we are both people that like to be active and like to be doing. We like to sit and watch our TV too, but
Why, yes,
we're gonna have to find some activities, and that's one of the things that we will talk about.
What are we
on
going to
here.
do
Well,
in the
I don't want to
future world?
list because then I have to do them if I list them. So I don't want to put something out there that I may not really be interested in
That's
doing.
right.
But no, we will,
Oh,
but
and I know that. Like, there's
I
all the
think,
things that we do. We already know some of the things. Heck, was it Father's Day? And I got the pickleball set.
Well, yes, I
Right?
know. But don't say that because what if we don't end up doing that? Then,
I just said I got a set.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen with that set. It could sit there.
But I mean, we leave Thursday, and we will be coming back to this house Monday. Sans
Dude.
children, just
Dude.
us. So
I remember how upset's the wrong word, but I remember how emotional. Let's just use the generic word. I was, and I still can visualize it when Tanner walked away.
oh yeah,
And I got the pictures, and I still remember that. But that was you, me, and Tegan
Yes.
sitting in the back seat of the car. This time, when Tegan walks away, it's just you and me. And then that
Yeah.
thought of coming back here is going to be really, really something.
oh yeah. I mean, I cried in Tanner's room when I was up there putting something away after he went away. Now I'm gonna have, the only room we're probably gonna be in upstairs is this one in the if we're watching a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much I will be in, or I don't know how much I want to be in their rooms because it's upsetting.
I remember that going into his room when he left that first semester. I probably haven't done it all that much since, but that first semester going in there, it just felt weird.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, how many different ways are there of saying it's going to feel weird? I just know that as I'm going towards this, I'm I'm not nervous. You know why I'm not nervous? Because I'm so excited for them. It's just suddenly our identity is completely changed.
And it's different with Tanner because this is his senior year. We've done this. You know, it's still sad to say goodbye to him, but we've adapted to him being gone. You know, she's my little buddy.
She is your little buddy. She,
you know, I mean, every morning she would come home from school, from drill team, and we would just talk, and afternoons, and I don't know, it's going to be hard for me. And I know it's going to be hard for you too, but she and I spend a lot of time together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited for her. And, you know, you want your kids to go off and have a great experience. And I just am praying that she will. And I know she will. Because she wants to have a good experience. She's so excited. So.
That's what. I'm going to miss her. I mean, I'm going to miss them both. I'm going to miss her so thoroughly because she hasn't been gone. And just because the water's not falling down my cheeks, I feel like I can kind of feel that knot in my stomach. And it's just that kind of piece of you that gets ripped out. And well, I'm out of words. That's how you know when I'm emotional, is I just don't have words.
Yeah. We need a tissue box up here. I think we.
You know what though? Let's all those emotions. I'm feeling them too. What I do know though is, while I can feel that way because of what you said though, she's so excited about it, and I'm so excited about it, and I don't know if it's the second child part of it. I saw what happened when we grieved for his departure. I know we'll feel the same sort of grief of her departure, but she'll be able to thrive and it'll come around.
I think, like we said, you know, we are doing this for something for us, but also for our friends. We have lots of friends who are already in the empty nest or are about to start the empty nest, or, you know, are still behind in the empty nest.
But pretty darn close.
Yeah. So I think we're doing this for us, for them. We want to have some guests on. We want questions. We just, you know, want people to follow along on our journey, and maybe, you know, we can learn from others, and maybe people can learn from us.
And I like anybody, to our listener out there, we want to learn from you as well. And so, yes, as we go along, heck, we're still learning this thing, but we'll find out the best way. We want to hear questions coming in. We want to hear what you're going through. Tell us your stories and let us retell your stories, or even be able to have your story told on The Loud Quiet.
I know, we didn't even say the name.
Well, why is it The Loud Quiet, Clancy?
This is the loud. What do you mean, why? Because it's
I just wanted to say it like that.
It's going to be a quiet in your house that is so loud that you just can't ignore it.
Yeah.
And so, yes, this is The Loud Quiet podcast,
Living the Empty Nest. I just slurred.
Nest. Okay, let's do that again. We're not professionals here, so
that may not make it in the final cut.
No, well, it may make it in the blooper reel. Okay, so yes, this is The Loud Quiet, Living the Empty Nest. Let's go get a drink.